There are so many gels on the sport nutrition market that knowing where to start can be a little bit daunting if you're considering trying a new one. Now, as a sport nutritionist, I often get asked about gels because people want to know, what's the best gel to have for X, Y, and Z? And the answer really is, it depends. It depends on what sweetness profile you like. It depends on what flavour profile you enjoy. It depends on the textures that you like having in your mouth. And that's not even to mention what your price budget is or how you intend to use the gels, whether it's having one or two or whether are doing lots back to back to back, that might actually impact it too. Now, in a previous career, I worked as a product developer in the supplement industry. So does this somehow qualify me to give advice on gels? Probably not. But what I can offer you is advice which is going to be as unbiased as possible. Because as a registered sport nutritionist, I cannot accept any financial gain by recommending products to clients. So the intention of this series is going to be to provide advice so that you can make a choice on what sort of gel you're going to want based on your taste preferences. So things we're going to cover are going to be the amount of carbs in the gels. We're going to look at the pricing so that you can help assess your budget. We're going to look at the flavor profile. I'm going to explain the sweetness, both in the max sweetness and also the sweetness profile over time. We're going to look at the texture. So we're going to split that into three. I'm going to try and explain them whether they're wet or watery, whether they're gooey or gloopy, or whether they're sort of sticky and syrupy. And we're going to try and put them on a bit of a spectrum there. All of that, I'm then going to provide my Nutrition for Energy star rating. And hopefully after all of that, you are going to be able to make an informed choice whether to do which gel you want to have. In this first episode, we're going to be looking at the Beta Fuel. Now this is Science in Sport's 40 gram of carbohydrate serving. They have a few different flavors. The one I've gone for is strawberry and lime. And to make this as unbiased as possible, I've bought all of these products with my own money. I haven't accepted any freebies, just to try and be really clear and transparent about that. And also, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not getting any kickback if you do try and buy one of these products. Okay, so let's look at this first gel. We have the SIS Beta Fuel. Now, one of the key things about this product is it's 40 grams of carbohydrate. So it means it's going to make it a little bit easier to get in large quantities of carbohydrate if that is your goal. The flavor on this one is strawberry and lime. I think they also have an orange, but this is the one we're going to taste. In terms of its price point, I was able to get 6 gels off Amazon for £11.11, which makes it about £1.85 per gel. So in the grand scheme of things, it's a fairly moderately priced gel. I'll explain my pricing system here. So I've given a £1 sign if it is less than £1.50 per gel. I've given it £2 signs if it is between £1.50 and £2. So this is £2 signs, and £3 signs if it is over £2 a gel. And I've also reserved £4 signs if it is over £2.50 a gel. But there's only one of those here which fits into that category. So moderatively priced. Let's see how it tastes. I'm going to open it up. Easy open. Okay, so the first thing I'm getting is apart from some saliva, is a big artificial sort of strawberry taste. And then sort of there's a lingering lime taste. The sweetness profile isn't crazy, but it's relatively high, and it actually stays with you for quite a while. And I think because it's staying with you, it means the taste is sort of lingering on my palate now. If you like sort of confectionery, those like artificially taste strawberries, you might be into this. Personally, not really for me, that flavor profile. Let's look at the texture. So I'm going to be squidging it out so you can have a look at the texture. Okay, so there, it's fairly runny, but it's got a little bit of gloop. It's actually quite syrupy, that, in terms of its taste profile. So as we put this down, I'm rating this as much more on the syrupy scale. So I've given this a 7 out of 10 on the syrupiness because it's quite sticky, that. It's not very wet, so I've only given that a 3 out of 10. And in terms of it being gloopy or gel-like, well, not really at all. So I've only really given that a 3 or a 4. As I squirt this out, you can sort of see that it's quite sticky. So I've given that a 7 out of 10 on the stickiness scale. So it's really much more syrupy than it is wet, which I've only given it as a 3 out of 10. And it's not really all that gloopy or gel-like. So I've given that a 4 out of 10. To help explain the sweetness, I've got my lovely sweetness over time graph. So this product, the Beta Fuel that we're looking at here, it builds. So it builds fairly quickly, gets to that sort of roughly 7 out of 10, I would say, on a max sweetness scale compared to the others. And then it actually doesn't die off all that quickly. It kind of stays with you. And I think that's because of the stickiness. It just lingers in your mouth. So the sweetness stays with you. So this one here is our SIS Beta Fuel. As we go through the others, we're going to start getting lots of other lines coming on. So so that you can actually see and compare the differences. So this one is our SIS Beta Fuel. Now, in terms of my 5-star rating for this product, I'm only going to give it 1.5 stars. Now, the reason for that is I personally don't get on with the flavor profile. I find it very artificial, which I don't particularly enjoy. And I think the stickiness of this product just gets all caught up in your mouth, and it makes that the flavor profile that I don't like, it makes it stay and linger much longer. The only reason I haven't put this even lower is because it's a really big serving size. So if you're just keen on getting lots of carbs in and you can bang one of these and you don't really mind about the flavor profile, then that is for you. In the next episode, we're going to be looking at the OTE 40 gram of carb gel. I've got the cherry super gel to look forward to. I'm going to be explaining the price point, the flavor profile and the sweetness, as well as everything in between. I'll see you then.